Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, what's up, Facebook family? Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Wednesday. It's been relaxing and productive for you. A common question that I get is from parents who have older biological children and they're now raising their adopted children. So the parents are now raising adopted children who are usually younger, and they get a lot of questions, concern, pushback, sometimes downright anger from their biological children because their biological children were raised differently than they see them raising the adopted children. And so I thought I'd talk about that for just a little bit and see if I can't help you shed some light on that and maybe even share with your biological children. Here's the thing, first and foremost, as the parents. In all things, you want to be the one who practices understanding. Your older biological children are going to have challenges that are going to catch you by surprise. And you have to slow down and think, where is this really coming from? And it's usually coming from a place, just like with all siblings, of insecurity. They see you maybe spending more time with the adopted children, maybe not punishing them the same way, maybe putting up with more BS from the adopted children, your traumatized children, than you put up with them. And to them, it's confusing. But underneath the confusion is a level of insecurity. Because no matter what, no matter how old your biological children are, when it comes to you, they are still your children. And when we become stressed, we regress. So sometimes they may be 25 or 30, but all of a sudden, they're your 15-year-old children. So it's really important that you take that into consideration, that where they're coming from when they're questioning you or when they're challenging you isn't from that adult place that you're looking at. It's not from that chronological, physical, cognitive age. It's coming from an emotional age. And so if you slow down for just a moment and you take that into consideration, take those deep breaths, and you ask yourself, okay, what is it about my raising their adopted sibling that could be so threatening? Ask that question. You never know what may come up. And it may just help you understand them a little better and maybe be a little bit more sensitive to where they're coming from, because they will have anxiety. They will also have concern. Sometimes they see, because adopted and foster children, traumatized children can be challenging. We all know this. So they will feel concerned for your safety. They'll feel concerned for your emotional health. That creates stress and anxiety. And when that creates stress and anxiety, that also causes them to regress. And so then they want to protect you and they want to look after you. And you have to, again, be really mindful and just say to them, we're going to be okay. I'm okay. This is really important as I say this. Your children, all siblings, they look at how you emotionally respond to the other sibling, respond or react, to determine how they're supposed to feel. Even your adult children. With your adult children, and especially with your young children, but with your adult children, when you're engaging with your adopted child who's having behavioral challenges, as you feel uncertain, as you feel insecure, as you feel anxious, as you feel stressed, they're going to experience that along with you. And as they experience that with you, they're going to become stressed. They're going to feel anxious. They're going to be worried. And then that's what they're going to bring to you. So you actually have to end up regulating not just yourself, you have to regulate your child, and then you have to regulate your older child on the other side. Here's how you do that. Slow down. Slow down. And get your child regulated. Regulate yourself. Regulate your small child. And then when the time is right, just say to your older child, I know sometimes that when I am parenting your brother or sister, it doesn't look anything like it did when you were growing up. But I am trying to do things different because they've had different experiences. And I apologize if you see me parenting them in some way that you feel like I maybe should have parented you and maybe should have given you more grace. I apologize if that's not where I was at the time. But I'm going to be okay. They're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You are important to me. You are safe. I'm safe. They're safe. And just have that honest communication. Now for the older siblings, for the older children. Oh, it's kind of warm out here. There's no wind. It's humid. Oklahoma. Your parents, for whatever reason, decided that they wanted to raise more children. They adopted these children. Your siblings. These children are different. Their brains are different. They've had different experiences, so they're wired differently. And the way I like to say it is that they are stress sensitive and fearful. What that means is they don't always behave like children who've not had similar experiences. Children who've had normal, developmentally appropriate experiences respond to stress differently than your siblings are going to respond. Here's the thing. The stress that your siblings experience also creates stress for your parents. When your parents get stressed and they're having to deal with your siblings, you getting stressed only puts more pressure, more anxiety on them. As difficult as it can be, I really want to encourage you, just take a step back. Don't disappear, don't abandon, don't remove your support from them, but take a step back, because in that moment it's really stressing you out. And when you begin to get stressed out, it starts to trigger some of your old, probably unresolved communication issues that existed with your parents before your siblings ever came into the picture. So a lot of the anxiety you'll have towards your parents about the way that they're parenting your siblings really has very little to do with your siblings and more to do with communication patterns that you and mom and dad haven't worked out over this period of time. So when they're in the midst of their stress and interaction with your siblings is not the time to try to, question them or try to figure out why they didn't do the same thing with you. Give them time to settle down, because we all get stressed. So take a step back for yourself, breathe, calm yourself down, try to get centered, and then later, when everything has settled down, when your parents aren't overwhelmed. See, you don't want them to be overwhelmed, because if they're overwhelmed, they can't hear you. So you have to wait, and you have to trust that your parents, they raised you. So you got to trust that they're going to be able to take care of these children, and they're going to be able to take care of themselves, and ultimately they're still going to be available to you. But you don't want to overwhelm them even more with your own anxiety in that moment. So give them time. And then when you come to them, say, Mom, Dad, I'm concerned. And help me understand what I'm seeing here. Because I'm not the parent. I'm just the older sibling. What is it that I'm seeing based on how you guys raised me that you're now seeing? What's the perspective that you have of these children that you're taking that you wouldn't have taken with me, because I feel confused? And give your mom and dad an opportunity to really explain. And they may actually show you a Big Papa video, which would be really cool. They've probably got tons of them. Give them an opportunity to explain and share with you, and maybe even apologize to you about what they've seen over whatever period of time they've been trying to do something new and different, and now what they realized when they were raising you. And then maybe that opens up a conversation for you guys. And that opening up that conversation will hopefully bring you closer, just because a lot of times it's stuff that needed to be discussed that just hasn't been discussed before. So I hope that's helpful. Vanessa says, you're welcome, Michelle. Vanessa says, what about if you're parenting similar age children with a variety of experiences, lots of trauma versus pretty typical healthy? This is where I go back to saying, they're going to look at how you... So first of all, the love-based parenting approach applies for all children. If you've not been approaching your children in this way, your biological children or your quote-unquote healthy children in this way, apologize. Tell them you were fearful and you want to try doing something different. And you just had the good fortune to now have their adopted siblings come into your life to bring this new awareness for you, and you want to try to do something different. So just apologize. Tell them how you may have done it in the past just because they were good kids may not have been the best way. You can do that. It opens up a whole new dynamic. But fundamentally, what you want to make sure you do is realize that your kids in all situations are watching the way you handle their siblings. And however you handle their siblings, how you feel about it, your anxiety, your calm, your fear or your love, your stress or your peace is what they're going to respond to. And so when they ask you questions, you have to be able to respond with that calm, with that love, with that peace. And that's how you help settle their heart and you settle their anxiety. And that makes them able to transition and understand exactly what it is you're trying to do. And then it opens up a new paradigm and a new opportunity for them to do something different. So I hope that's helpful, guys. Remember, in any given situation, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from the same blueprints of stress and fear and overwhelm, or we can slow down, we can stop, we can take 3 to 10 deep breaths, and we can choose love. Big Papa loves you. God bless each and every one of you, and I hope you have a fantastic evening. I'll see you tomorrow.